Assalamu alaikum. We are continuing chapter 5, the motivation. In this part, we will discuss the process theories. The learning objectives for this part, we have three main theories. We will discuss them in this part: the expectancy theory, the equity theory, and the goal setting theories. We will conclude this part by identifying and explaining the concept of the psychological contract. The process theories of motivation. Who are the founders of those theories? First, Broom. Broom introduced the expectancy theory of choices. Adams introduced to us the equity theory based on comparisons that individuals make. And finally, Locke introduced the goal-setting theories and explained how conscious goals and intention are the determinants of behavior. While discussing through this part all those theories, we will find out that how choices of room or the comparison that individuals make, or how we put conscious goals and intention, how all this will impact the motivation and consequently the behavior. Vroom's expectancy theory. Vroom is saying employees are more likely to be motivated when they perceive their efforts will result in successful performance and ultimately desired rewards and outcomes. Here, Vroom is saying if the individual perceives that when he put efforts, this effort will bring him a successful performance, and then this performance will be recognized and appreciated and will be translated into a desired reward and outcome, here the person or the individual will be motivated. Let me give you an example. Now you are a student. If now you are collecting all the sheets for the subject, you attend all the lectures, you study hard, so now you are putting the efforts. Imagine with me that in the day of the exam, when you have the sheet in front of you, you perform very well. All the questions are coming from where you studied, nothing come from outside of the curriculum, and everything was okay and the day was good, so you perform successfully. And then after the results came out, you find out that you got the A if you expected an A, or you got a B if you expected a B, and so on. If you got this relationship between the effort and the performance and the outcome, and you like this outcome in the end, most probably you will be motivated. So next time, next exam, you will wish to experience the same sequence. So you will go through the same efforts, maybe you will put more efforts. So because you are expecting to have the good performance and then the desired reward in the end. Also, Vroom said most behaviors are under the voluntary control of the individual and consequently are motivated. And here is something really good. Vroom believed that motivation as a process is under our control because we can choose, and that's why the expectancy theory we call it the theory of choices, because the person here, or the individual here, can choose. You are, as a student, you can choose. Either you will go to play or have a social gathering, or you will study. So this is your choice to put the effort or not. So if you believe in this, in the end, consequently, you will be motivated because you will choose the right choice and in the right direction. And this might let us think of something related to this, and some concepts from the personality trait that we already discussed. Something like the locus of control or the self-efficacy, for example. And you think with me, if the person has a high self-efficacy, if the person has an internal locus of control, we think always that those individual will have this formula right, because they will think that their effort will bring the successful performance and then the right reward, because they have high confidence and they see themselves as everything under their control. While the opposite, when you have an external locus of control or low self-efficacy, I believe that you will not think the same way, and you will find that maybe other forces or external forces are against you, and you cannot fulfill the successful performance which will bring ultimately the desired rewards. Think of these things, and we maybe can discuss it more in the Facebook group. Okay, so as we agree until now that the theory of expectancy is one of the process theory. So process means that it goes through steps or stages. So we have here two stages in this process. The first stage is a first level outcome result from the behavior associated with doing the job itself. Yani, as we said, when you put the effort, so the outcome netted from this effort is the behavior, is the performance. And here is regarding the organizational behavior, which we studied in the organization setting, we name those behavior in the job itself. Something like the productivity, absenteeism, turnover, quality of production. So let's discuss those further. If you now, as an employee, decide that you will be a productive employee, you will do your work, the required work, you put some time, you put some effort, and then the output from this is high productivity. So you do the work. Either you are engineer, you are consultant, you are manager, anything. So you put effort, and then you will be productive. So this is the end performance of this. Absenteeism, if you decide that you will postpone many things related to your family, so you can attend every day at work, you will not absent, you will be there all the time. So now the effort that you put, that you will be attend for your employee, for your colleagues and things like that. The turnover, if you turnover is a measure of the number of employees getting in and out of the organization, and we could have a high turnover if those people coming in and out as many, or low turnover if they are not stable enough. So if this turnover is okay, and most people are going to work and stay at work and connected and committed to their work. The quality of production, if you do a quality work, so you do your best in everything. Secretary do the best in writing emails, a manager do his best in taking decisions, and so on. So this is the first phase, which is the outcome from putting the effort, which expressed in the behavior related to the job itself. The second phase, which the second level outcome result from those events, such as rewards and punishment. So when you get the right behavior in here in the left side, so you will get something in return, rewards or punishment. So something like the merit pay increase if you got a bonus, if the salary increase or not, or group acceptance or rejection. The group work, they accept you as an individual, or they reject you and they don't want to get you in the circle. The promotion, do you have any opportunity for promotion in this company? If you got that, so this is a good outcome. Termination, you did things good, but the company or the manager hates you and just file a termination report on you. So let's think of the two opposite here. So if you are so productive and maybe you got the merit pay increase, so this is good. But if you're productive but you are not getting any pay increase, so you maybe perceive this as bad. If you come every day to work, you are not absent a day, but you still didn't get the high return that you expect, or you didn't get promotion at the time you want. If you are really a good person and do a quality job, but maybe the group is rejecting you because you are putting them in comparison to you, or they accept you if they are good individuals. So here, those are the two phases that now we will combine them together to reach the core of our theory in the next slide. So now, let's build the theory considering what we said in the previous slide about the first level outcome and the second level outcome. So first, the expectancy. This stage, it is an individual's belief that a particular behavior will be followed by a particular outcome. It is, as we said, the effort performance expectancy. مدى توقع الشخص إن الeffort هيجيب أو هينتج عنه الperformance. So هنا individuals believe that a particular behavior will be followed by a particular outcome. We name this the expectancy. And we said it depends on the personality trait, the attitude of the person, how we perceive the work or the job, hard or easy, is it under his control or outside of his control. So is he really sure that when he put the effort, the performance will be achieved? And this might be different from person to the other. Some of us sure that when they put the effort, the performance will be achieved. The others think, as we said, that there are other forces not under his control that will affect the performance to be attained. The next stage, the instrumentality. The instrumentality, it is a perception that first level outcome, which is the performance, are associated with the second level outcome, which is the reward. And as we said here, is my performance will get appreciated, will get recognized, and then they will reward me for this kind of performance or behavior. So again, this might come as positive or negative. So instrumentality can be positive or negative, right? So it is negative when the second level outcome, which is a reward, is less likely if the first level outcome has been attained. Yani if you think that I did the performance, I did good, but it's less likely that this company will reward me because my experience of this company is not like that. They will not reward people for their performance, so this will be a negative instrumentality. So, and then you might have a positive instrumentality when your experience with this company that they reward people, they encourage people when they do something good. So this is a positive instrumentality when the second level outcome is more likely if the first level outcome has been attained, which is the performance. The last stage is the balance. The balance here الجاذبية، مدى جاذبية الريورد أو المكافأة اللي أنت هتاخدها. Here an individual's preference for the outcome. هل فعلا ال outcome that you got in the end, do you prefer it? Is it as you expect or less? Did you expect a bonus but they only give less of this bonus, or do you expect to have a promotion but you only got a raise? So maybe you are not preferring this. So the balance applies to first and second level outcome. So let's think of this. الجاذبية أو الbalance here. Remember the example of having the exam after you study hard and then you have the exam. If you are now in the exam and you didn't find yourself that you didn't answer good, are you satisfied? So here the performance that you bring or you come, the behavior itself, is it satisfying to you? You might say, yes, I studied very hard, but in the day of the exam I didn't do a good job. So you are not satisfied. So this is the first level outcome. Again, the balance related to the second level outcome, which is the reward, the A, the B, the grade itself. Is it expected or not? Is it less or more than you expect? So again, it is a process. Remember always that expectancy theory is a process theory. So the person in his mind going through different stages. Here there are 3 stages to put him in the end in a high or low motivation. So you pass through the expectancy, which is the perception. Is my effort will bring the performance or not? Then you go through the instrumentality. Do my performance will bring the right reward or not? Is it likely or not likely to bring the reward? And in the end, the balance. Do I really satisfy with my performance? Do the reward attractive to me? I like the reward or not? We can say here in all the factors must be presented, all the factors, all the relation must be presented for the person to develop a force to be motivated. If some of them are missing, maybe the process is not complete and that person will not be as motivated. A final word on the expectancy theory, as you see in this figure. So it's a process, the individual going through different, 3 stages to develop a motivation toward a behavior. So the first stage, when the individual put an effort and he is expecting the performance. So this is the perceived probability of successful performance given the effort. Do the individual believe that his effort will bring the right performance? And this is the expectancy, the probability that every time I will put the effort, the performance will be achieved successfully. The second stage is when the individual come up with the performance and he want to make sure that the rewards will be attained. So here the perceived probability of receiving an outcome given the performance. if the company will reward me or not about my performance. If this relation is good, the instrumentality is positive, so this will push me for better motivation. If it's not, if it's negative, so this will not motivate me. I will do the performance, but the reward will not be achieved. The last year, when I got the rewards, I always ask myself if this will fulfill my personal goals. Am I value these rewards? Is the rewards attractive to me? Is it worth what I did from putting the effort and getting the performance? So all the relationship, the 3-year relationship, must be achieved, as we said, for the person to get motivated for the next step, for the next behavior. So it's the effort-performance relationship, then the performance rewards, and in the end, the rewards and personal goals. The equity theory. Another theory from this category of the process theory, that again the individual is going through a process of perceiving things to get motivated. So here the employee compare their efforts and rewards with those of others in similar work situation. So the individual here is going through a comparison process of his efforts and rewards with others in similar work situation. For this to work, the person should compare himself with another person in similar work situation to make sense. So I'm not comparing myself to other person who is working in different situation. No, I am taking the individual to work in similar work situation. The one's perception of being treated fairly in social exchange can influence motivation. Here, the employees always expect a fair return for what they contribute to their job. And this concept is very important, right? To feel fairness. And this is the equity, the word equity, meaning fairness, to feel fairness, that people treat you in a fair way. And if you feel this, if you perceive this, you will get motivated. This will influence your motivation. Okay, so if the person feel or perceive he is not treated equal or not treated fair enough, he will seek to reduce this inequality by going through a process or going through a behavior. Maybe it will disrupt the work, and we will see this in the coming slides. Equity exists when employees perceive that the ratio of their input effort to their outcome, which is the reward, equal to the ratio of other employees. So here, the individual in this process is not comparing the absolute number, which is what I get to what the other individual get. I'm getting 5, he's getting 10, so I'm not satisfied. I'm not feeling equal because he's getting 10 and I'm getting 5. No, we are not comparing this absolute number. We are only comparing the ratio. What the effort I put and what I get with what the effort he put and what he get. And maybe the effort that I put, something like the time I put into work, the quality, the commitment, my certificate, my skills. So all this having a weight, يعني لها وزن. So I'm comparing what I put to what I get. So when I get an outcome, certain outcome, and the other person have less of my effort, يعني he put less time, he has less skill, he is not doing a quality work, and then he got more here, I will feel unequal, which will make me doing certain behavior. If I feel equal, so this will influence my motivation. So here the comparison between two ratios. Always the person want to feel equal, so he could get motivated. If he feel not, he will do another behavior. Again, the individual pick another individual to compare with him, and this another individual should be from a similar work situation, maybe inside the organization or outside the organization. Maybe a person, one individual or a group. I could compare myself to a group or an individual. So here the key terms in this theory: the person, the one who is going through this process of comparison; the individual, for whom equity or inequity is perceived. So the person that under the spot now, he is going through this perception of having an equal situation or unequal situation. The other person, the comparison other, so those, as I said, any group or persons used by the person as a referent regarding to ratio of inputs and outcomes. So every person select a comparison other. We name them the referent group or the referent person. اللي هو الشخص المرجعي اللي برجع ان انا اقارن نفسي بيه. بقارن ايه؟ بقارن the ratio of my input and outcome to his input and outcome. The inputs, as we said, the individual characteristics brought by the person to the job. All the person characteristics. So this is the input, which is the effort, the time, the skills, the abilities, all the qualities that he has, his certificate, his degrees, his commitment, everything. So the individual characteristics, that what I put in the job, which is the input. The outcome, what I get, what the person received from the job. Something like salary, recognition, achievement, promotion, all this organization thing that I might receive from my job. Okay, let's see here how this theory work. So now the person, which is the A, this is the person who is going through the process, and we have the other person, which is the reference person or the reference group, the B. So here on the left side, the person that is going through this comparison, and he select another group or another person, the B person. We said we are not comparing outcomes, absolute number. Here I got salary 1,000, he got 2,000, so I'm not feeling happy or I'm not feeling equal. No, this is not work, because maybe he put in more input than I am, so I cannot judge this. So I'm not comparing absolute numbers. I'm comparing only the ratio, the output here that come from this ratio. So as we said, the input I put here, my skill, my time, my commitment, my degrees, my certificate, everything here, the other person as well put some input. I got here a bonus, a salary, achievement, responsibility, authority, recognition. He as well got some of that, some outcome. So if those two ratios are equal, and this is what I always strive to or seek to achieve, equality. I don't want more, I don't want less. I want to be equal, to feel satisfied and to feel motivated. So if this is equal, so this is the equity achieved, satisfaction achieved. So here I'm satisfied. If when I'm comparing here, I fell in the inequity because my ratio is less than the reference ratio. Here I feel, what do you think? What do you think I will feel here? I will feel anger, because why? I put such and such, but I only get this outcome, and he put less than me, but he got more. So if this ratio is less than this, I will feel here angry, which is ظلم، تحس انك مظلوم. If when I'm comparing, I reach the situation of having more ratio, higher ratio than the other, the reference person, I feel inequity again. But this has different meaning. Here I'm taking more than I worth. Here they overvalue me. They overvalue my input. So here I feel unequal again, but I'm not angry, right? Maybe feel more confident. Maybe I'm feeling pride of myself. And maybe I will feel guilty. Guilty because I'm taking something I shouldn't. This is the three situations that the person always want to feel equal, but maybe in certain situations he feel unequal with two different meaning. Either very angry because you take less than you should, or you are guilty because you are taking more than you should. And we'll see how the person will behave to return the balance in place from inequity to equity. So as I said, what are the procedures the person will take to restore equity? Restore equity meaning to get the balance back in place, to get back to the equity perception. So if the person feel injustice or guilty, meaning he feel inequity due to overvalue or undervalue his input, he need to do something to restore the equity. So either he change input, right? Maybe you put less input. If they are undervalue you, so you put less input. If you feel that they overvalue you and they give you more than you should, so maybe this will push you to give more input, more effort, more time, more commitment. Okay, or you put less of that if you feel that you didn't take the outcome that you should take. They give you less. Or you change the outcome. Maybe you go to your manager, your boss, saying I achieved this and that, and I need more of promotion or more raise, right? So again, so you change either of those, the input or the outcome, so you can restore the equity. You go back to a place of balance. You maybe change your attitude of perceiving the outcome. Maybe you value the outcome that they gave you. Maybe you didn't understand the situation, so maybe you change your attitude toward the outcome, so it puts you in a place of balance or equity. Changing the reference person. You try to convince yourself that it's not the right person to compare yourself with. So you try to take another person and maybe restore the equity in your perception. Or you change the input or outcome of the reference person. So you go to the person trying to convince him to put more input, so maybe this will restore the equity for yourself, or go back and complain to the manager why you gave him such outcome or such reward or such recognition while he didn't do the same performance as you do. Or if all this fail, you will leave and you will maybe ask for transfer, or you resign from the job. All this uh, behavior because you are not in an equal situation, you are not feeling fair, uh, you are not motivated, uh, but on the opposite side you are feeling injustice, and um, you are put in an unfair situation. So you want to restore the equity by one of those behavior. This topic as well very related to the theory we just finished now, the organizational justice, and we recognize that it is a degree to which individuals feel fairly treated at the workplace, and we recognize now that this concept is very important to the person to develop a place of balance, and get motivated toward his work if he feel that he's fairly treated. How the person understand this concept, the organizational justice, العدالة التنظيمية. The types of organizational justice. Here, the individual want to evaluate the justice in the organization from two dimensions: the distributive and the procedure. The distributive justice, it is the perceived fairness of how resources and rewards are distributed throughout the organization. So the person here tried to understand, make justification, how the resources and rewards distributed in different levels of management, in which departments, for who the person is getting raised this month, who's getting promoted. So try to figure how the resources and rewards distributed and given and allocated in different places and for different people. The procedural justice, it is the perceived equity or fairness of the organization process and procedures used to make resources and allocation of decision. Here the individual want to evaluate the process of allocating the resource. He want to make a justification or evaluation of what the reasons, what are the causes. Um, Something like the test. Do they give test? Do they evaluate the performance? Do they make any questionnaire or survey about distributing these resources and rewards in different members of the organization? So as if he's asking what are the process that accomplished or completed before the company distribute the resources among different members and different levels. So the distributive justice is about how the resources and reward distributed. The procedures is what are the measures or the criteria that the company or the organization distribute the rewards among different members and different levels. The last theory here from those process theories, the LOX, goal setting theory. The goal is a result that a person, team, or group is attempting to accomplish through behavior and action. So the goal is the result. As you know, the goal is the result that you want to reach from point A to point B. So this is the goal you want to reach as a person or a team or a group. And to reach this goal, you attempt to do certain behavior and action to reach this goal. So here the goal setting process and the goal characteristics is a very powerful tool for performance, for motivation, for productivity. Locke's view in this, he says that an individual's conscious goals and intentions are the primary determinants of behavior. So Locke's view is that when the individual put the goals with a conscious process, he is aware of himself when he's putting the goals, and he intends to reach it by all means, this is the primary determinant of the behavior. Also, once a person starts something, he or she pushes on until a goal is achieved. So, as Locke say, the commitment, if the person committed to something, when he starts something, he will always push forward to achieve this goal. And he says also that the harder goals will result in a higher levels of performance if these goals at the first place accepted by the individual. So if the individual accept the behavior, and this gives us a message that the participation of the individuals in setting the goals is a very important element. So if the person himself accept the goal, and if it's hard, but he is accepting it, this will result in a higher level of performance. The key concepts in this theory is we are talking about the goal setting. It is a process of establishing goals. And establishing goals, it's a process achieved by putting the goals on a different levels of the organization, from top management, strategic goals, and then we come downward in the organization until we reach the tactics goals. So it's a process of establishing goals. All goals must be related and connected and comes from the top down in the organization. The goal specificity, it is a degree of quantitative precision of the goal. The goal must be very specific, clear, limited, have a framework, probably have a quantitative precision, maybe have numbers. You said I will achieve a 2% of profit, 5% of market share next year. So it needs this kind of number, which is a quantitative precision to be measured in the end. The goal difficulty, it is a level of performance required to achieve the goal. So you need here to specify again the hard, or is a goal hard or medium or simple? What kind of performance needed to achieve this goal? The goal intensity, it is a process of setting the goal or of determining how to reach it. How we can reach this goal, how much time we could put in this goal, the team, how many members needed to reach or to achieve this goal. So many specifications we need to put it here to clarify the intensity of the goal and how we can reach this goal. The goal commitment, the amount of effort used to achieve a goal. Again, maybe you can put to achieve this goal, you need to put an effort of 4 hours a day. If you want to get an A in a subject, you need to study 4 hours a day, and maybe in the week before the exam you need to hire this and raise this number of hours. So here many specification for the goal to be complete. And in the end here we can say that the smarter goal, which is the first letter of those characteristics, the goal must be specific, not very general, not very wide, to be understandable, to be clear, measurable. As we said, you specify it in the measures. In the end, you want to say, did you really achieve the goal? So if you say, I want to achieve a 2% of profit, so in the end, if you got the 1%, you said, no, I'm not, achieving the complete goal. I need to put extra effort. Or if you passed those 2%, so you said, I did a good job. So specific and measurable. Attainable, not a very, very optimistic. So when you put a goal, you need to know your resources, your people. So this goal, it's attainable. You could do it. It's not impossible. Related, of course, related to what you are doing right now in your organization, what other level doing, what other department doing. So all the goals need to be related. Timed, better to have time, next year, next month, next week. So again, when you develop the sentence, the statement of the goal, you need to put a time frame. Extended, you could build on. If you finish a stage or a phase, you could extend it to another phase. And rewarded. In the end, you need to be rewarded on this goal. So the goal need to be having a value to you, to your organization. In the end, this goal has to add value to the overall organization. So those are the characteristics of the goals: specific, measurable, attainable, related, timed, extended, and rewarded. The final word here about this theory, the goal setting, Locke introduced to us this theory of goal setting and how setting the goal with a certain specification and characteristics will help in developing a high motivation in the individual. So the goal characteristics, as we said earlier, many characteristics, like the goal should be clear, meaningful, and challenging. As we said, attainable but challenging, meaningful and related and timed, very specific and measurable. So some of the goal characteristics will help us to perform in a desired way, that the organization desired the performance to come into action. Also, Locke put some moderator here. He's saying, if the person is not having such qualities, maybe the goal characteristics will not work as well to acquire the desired performance. So, although Locke said that any goal must be clear, meaningful, and challenging, but in the same time, the person ability, for example, can limit the person effort to accomplish these goals. So although the goals is clear and meaningful and challenging, but maybe our abilities will not help us, will not support us to accomplish these goals. Also, the commitment. The commitment to goals, as we said, or Locke said, if you committed to the goal, you will push it forward. So commitment to goals create a desire to overcome any problems or any barriers in the way. So if the person is not committed, although the characters of the goals is very perfect, but it will not bring the desired results. Also, we find some people, some individuals always want feedback in the right time. So the feedbacks also provide data, information, and facts about how we can achieve the goals. So if this feedback is not in place, the goal characteristics will not work as well to desired performance. Also, in the end, the organization or the management need to reward, need to reward the people that help and support collectively in achieving these goals to desired performance. So again, they need to study how we can motivate people, what kind of rewards that people preferred or team preferred. So those are the components of the theory. The goal characteristics in itself, when we set the goal, it needs to have certain characteristics. We need to take care of the moderators. We need to always check on those moderators, the abilities of our people, how they committed, do we give them feedback, how to reach the goals. We need to be very clear about the performance that the organization desire to direct the goals toward it. And in the end, we need to reward people. But people need different rewards because they are perceiving these rewards differently. The last theory or the last concept here we want to introduce is the exchange theory. This theory suggests that members of an organization engage in reasonably predictable give and take relationship. They exchange with each other. So the employer and the employee expect benefit from each other. So the relationship in the organization rely on these mutual benefits. So the employee gives time and effort in exchange for pay. The employee here provides his time and effort in exchange for pay from the other end, which is the organization. Also, the management provides pleasant working condition in exchange for employee loyalty. So when the employee is loyal, they will provide him with a pleasant work condition. So when this match happens between the predictable give and take or the expectation between the employee and the employer, when this match of expectation happen, this results in a higher work motivation from the end of the employee. If those matches is decreasing, is not meeting, so this will result in lower work motivation. Those benefits expected from each party could be agreed on the job contract, the formal job contract, which signed between the two parties, the employer and the employee, and we should agree on each element on this contract. And in this contract, it gives us the obligation for each party. So the employee need to do things, and the organization need to offer him things in return. Unlike the job contract, the formal one, we have the psychological contract. This is an unwritten agreement between the individual and the organization which specifies what each expects to give and receive from the other. So, because not everything could be said or signed or spelled out, but might be implied or hidden, so maybe the company cannot promise the employee to promote him in 3 years' time or in 2 years' time, but maybe it will happen. Maybe they will do this when the time comes for promotion. Maybe we cannot promise a raise explicitly, but implicitly we could do this over time. So here, this implicit agreement may take precedence over written agreement. Why? Because such psychological contract, it's not static, it's not stable like the job contract, the formal one. It is always changing, it's dynamic, because it changes with the expectation between the employer and the employee. Also, managing this psychological contract successfully is very, very important, and challenging aspects of most managers' jobs. Managers need to manage this psychological contract and get to the expectation of the employee, and this will not happen unless with good communication between the employer and the employee. The manager should understand the expectation, reads it in the mind of the employee, try to fulfill it to his favor, so he will raise here or increase the motivation of the employee to commit to this organization. In psychological contract, we might focus on exchanges involving something like satisfaction, challenging work, fair treatment, loyalty, and opportunity to be creative. Those things, maybe you don't find them in the formal contract. The quality of the satisfaction, the loyalty needed, the fair treatment, you cannot spell those in the job contract, but you can find those in the psychological contract. A psychological contract is a factor that build expectation in the employee, so maybe it develop the motivation for him to work. We end the chapter of motivation on two different videos. Part one, we discussed the content theories of motivation. The second part, we discussed the process theories of motivation. I will leave you here with the index of some of the terminology that we took in this part. Hopefully you will think about what we said here, what we discussed here. If you have any questions, we can discuss them in the Facebook page, inshallah.